On this first day of fall, Fox Saturday Baseball brings us to Atlanta, Georgia, where a win today by the Braves will guarantee they play into October. It's game 3 of this 4-game series. The top 2 teams in the National League East, the Braves and the Phillies. And who would have thought that these would be the standings entering today? These two clubs losing 90 games each of the last 3 seasons, but the Braves, a magic number of 2, have their eyes set on their first division title since 2013. Welcome inside beautiful SunTrust Park. Aaron Goldsmith alongside the Hall of Famer and Braves legend John Smoltz. And John, nobody saw this coming from either team.
No, in spring training there was optimism, but I don't think anyone thought that one of these teams could win the division. The future's bright for both Philadelphia and Atlanta. Unfortunately for Philly, the second half hasn't been great, but look in the future. They're going to be competitive and ready to compete year in and year out. And for the Atlanta Braves, who thought they'd be 1 game away possibly from clinching this division.
Well, they won the first 2 games of this series, and the win last night for the Braves, very much what they have done all season long. No team has scored more runs late in games than we saw last night in the 7th.
It's been a streaky year for the Braves. Their offense has been outstanding, but really from the 7th inning on. And from the 7th inning on, last night's game put them in this situation for a possible clinch. They came back again, and that's what this team has done. They've got some young, bright stars, and then mixed in is some veteran guys that provide the leadership. But a huge win for the Atlanta Braves. Of course, Philadelphia had to play near perfect the last 7 games against the Braves, and the Braves really have put themselves in a nice spot, more than likely looking to clinch the division in the next couple days.
Well, a chance to clinch today. Mike Fultonevich, one of the hardest throwers in the National League and all of baseball, will get the start for Brian Snitker. Meanwhile, for the Phillies, former Cy Young Award winner Jake Arrieta. Terrific pitching matchup. A lot on the line here today. Fox Saturday Baseball from Atlanta is coming up next. .86 degrees. There are some clouds up there, but plenty of sunshine right now on most of the field as we get you set for game 3 of 4. Look at Gabe Kapler's starting lineup for the Phillies. Rhys Hoskins, the left fielder, 32 home runs, 92 driven in, has struggled against lefties. But a right-hander up on the mound today. Carlos Santana, a first-year Philly, on pace for his best month of the season. And And a quick turnaround. Wilson Ramos caught last night. He's back in the lineup today, mainly because of Jake Arrieta, the starting pitcher for the Phillies. Michael Franco, good to see him in the starting lineup for the first time in 11 days. The third baseman for the Phillies with a nasty tumble into a camera well about a week and a half ago. So Franco, who came off the bench in last night's game, was a pinch hitter, healthy enough for the start. And all those guys, John, will have to catch up to some pretty filthy velocity for Mike Foltynewicz.
Yeah, Foltynewicz has made some changes, and it's really benefited him this year. His fastball reached 98, 99 miles an hour, unhittable slider. And the scouting report is basically that. The electric fastball, which he possesses, and obviously most of baseball possess, but it's the slider. And that average against that hitters, especially left-handers, don't like facing him. The key's going to be limit the pitches, go deeper in the game. That has been one of the things that Foltynewicz is trying to improve on. You throw a lot of 3-2 counts, a lot of foul balls, and then 5 or 6 innings of work, although be it really good innings of work.
Now Foltynewicz warmed up and ready to go. John, your keys for this one brought to us by Ford.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be for Philly to definitely work the count. Try to get into the Braves bullpen and keep their chances relevant as much as they can play perfect the rest of the year. And for the Braves, that's keep creating pressure, get guys on, because the runners in scoring position, no team in the National League is better than the Atlanta Braves.
Cesar Hernandez leads it off, the second baseman, with a swing and a miss, and right away 97 miles an hour from Foltynewicz.
So one of the things that Folty did in correcting his mechanics, he's got an abbreviated kind of stretch windup. And what that does is just allow him to be more consistent over the top fastball. He's going to have a fastball, slider, curveball, occasional change.
Three pitches, all strikes. Off-speed pitch buries Hernandez.
Well, that's a good example of how easy it can be for Mike Foltynewicz and how hard it can be for left-handers, burying that slider down and in. And you got to be ready for 97, so you got to protect. And for the Phillies hitters and for anyone facing Mike Foltynewicz, you tell yourself to stay off the high fastball. Good luck, because you're trying to get ready for it, because you know it's going to get on you quick.
A quick out number one here is Rhys Hoskins, the left fielder for the Phillies. Not a high average, but bats with some serious power.
Yeah, you almost believe his swing is so tailor-made for his ballpark. A lot of homers on the year. He's struggled against in his brief appearances against Folty.
Ozzie Albies wanted everybody to stay out of the way. Young second baseman for the Braves puts it away for out number 2. You see Albies. How about the rest of that Braves defense here today behind Foltynewicz? We will start in the outfield. Ronald Acuna Jr., possibly the National League Rookie of the Year. A blunder last night in left field, but has been fantastic overall this season defensively. Ender Inciarte could win a Gold Glove, and Nick Markakis having his first All-Star season. Meanwhile, on the infield, Johan Camargo and Dansby Swanson anchor the left side. We just saw Albies, and of course, an MVP candidate, Freddie Freeman, Kurt Suzuki, the veteran backstop, getting the start behind home. Two pretty quick outs. Here is Odubel Herrera, the right fielder, batting third for the Phillies. Out to center. Inciarte tracking this, and a very quick top of the first. 6 pitches for Foltynewicz. runs scored, and it leads off with the electrifying Ronald Acuna Jr. He has been tremendous, especially since moving to the top of the order. Freddie Freeman, the baseball's hit leader, and then of course second in hits in the majors, Nick Markakis. Ozzie Albies a home run last night. Dansby Swanson batting over .240 this season. They will be facing Jake Arrieta, making his 30th start this year for the Phillies. John, a bit of an up and down season for a new man in Philadelphia.
It's definitely been a little up and down, but stables that staff with young pitchers, and being able to count on him, you know, for what you would count on a veteran. He could throw any pitch at any time, but the fastball command is going to be one of the things to watch in today's game. He has so much movement on his pitches that the fastball can kind of lose the strike zone, and if it does, it makes him vulnerable, even though he's got a curveball, slider, changeup, cutter.
Speaking of command, 3-0 to Acuna. He has homered 8 times this year to begin a ball game. Taking all the way, a 4-pitch walk.
Well, a lot of people are probably wondering, sitting at home, going, how can a starting pitcher come out and throw the first 4 pitches for a ball after warming up and being ready? Well, first of all, first pitch success against Jake Arrieta is pretty high, 453. First pitch swinging for Acuna is pretty high, so you're not just throwing a pitch right down the middle, but that movement that he has is one of the great assets that he has, and one of the liabilities he has when he cannot command it on the corners.
Acuna taking off right away, and he gets in without a throw. His 15th bag of the season. Winston Ramos getting the start today behind home for the Phillies.
Well, that's the other thing that you can do against Jake Arrieta, both him and his fellow starters in Chicago. That was one of the knocks. As good as they were, you could take the base because they're slow to home. So we talked about in the very beginning, you know, what these two teams' high expectation looks like. Only one team, the Atlanta Braves, are going to go to the playoffs. But what each player is going through right now in September, relevant games, playoff pressure, is going to bode well for the future.
Yeah, to throw a strike.
And so what it looks like is sometimes you have carryover effect, right? You have big series. You knew Philadelphia had to come in and win 6 out of 7. They lose the first one, and then last night lose a real tough one, and then have a short turnaround. The Braves have momentum. They know what's at stake if they win. Sometimes that carryover can spill over into the first couple innings of the next game.
Back-to-back 4-pitch walks from Arrieta. Gabe Kapler, first-year skipper, looking on.
Now, this is probably one of the earliest meetings you ever see pitching coach have with their veteran pitcher and Jake Arrieta, but you haven't thrown a strike in 8 pitches. I think there's something you got to detect and let him know. His lower half, every pitcher's lower half, they work on the ability to just repeat the same consistency when you land on your lead foot. And that's been a struggle for Jake. He's been trying to work on that part of not landing so much on a stiff leg as much as on a bent leg. Easier said than done when you're trying to get out of a funk or work out of a funk. You see the last 7.
He's looking for his first quality start in over a month. And he's in trouble right away. 2 on, nobody out. Here is Freddie Freeman.
Well, here's where the Braves excel. We talked about put the pressure on runners in scoring position. They are the best in the National League, and they proved it last night. And they're trying to pick up where they left off.
Back-to-back strikes now, 0-2.
I would like to know the strike percentage of when a pitching coach goes out to the start. I'm telling you right now, I think it's 76.5%. The pitcher throws a strike after the pitching coach goes out.
Well, especially the Phillies and Gabe Kapler, they got the analytics crew better than anybody. How about a strikeout on 3 pitches?
I think the conversation could have gone something like this. Hey, be more aggressive, get down through your mechanics and let it go. And these last 2 and last 3 pitches especially, there's that sharp, hard slider. one of the best hitters in the National League, Freddie Freeman, is sitting there going, hey, come on. You threw 8 straight balls. And then I come up, dot, dot, and a nasty pitch. That's the way it works sometimes.
1 out, 2 on here is Markakis. Well, Freeman, the game's hit leader. Markakis, the second most hits in the majors. And he leads the National League in doubles.
Breaking ball came close to hitting him. I don't care who you are and how long you've played. There's a lot of good stories in baseball, and Markakis is part of that story. And a professional hitter getting a chance to play in the postseason. A lot of people, when the trade was made and the signing, you look at those career numbers, you know, a lot of people are like, well, the Braves are going to keep him for a couple years, just hold the position, and then they'll spin him off. Well, he's been so important, and the balance of that offense has run through him and Freddie Freeman, of course, and the youngsters that have come on the scene and electrified this city.
He's ahead with 2 on. 3-0. So Arrieta's thrown strikes to just 1 man. That's Freeman. Camargo on deck. The 3-0 to Markakis. Taking ball 4. Jake Arrieta has walked him loaded in the first. All 3 walks on 4 pitches. Who would think he'd rather face Freddie Freeman? Well, here's Camargo. He had the go-ahead 2-run hit last night in the 7th. Help propel the Braves to a victory and set up a chance with a win today to clinch the East. Braves looking for the first division title since 2013.
He's been great for the Braves, especially in these situations. Of course, you mentioned last night. All he's done is played third base throughout the rumors of who the Braves were going to get and who they needed to get and what position. And all he's done has been pretty consistent. Switch hitter.
Slice foul, 0-2.
Jake obviously thinking about striking out. Camargo here to try and avoid a big inning. He's got the count where he wants to. See if he throws that back foot curveball or breaking ball to get Camargo to swing over the top of it.
The 0-2. Ground ball with eyes through the left side. Acuna is in, and Ciarte is wheeling home. Just like last night, Camargo plates a pair, and the Braves lead it early 2-0 in the first.
Well, Jake went with a changeup, and disciplined hitting on the Atlanta Braves. Why they're so good with runners in scoring position. See how that ball just stays on the outside part of the plate. If you're trying to pull this baseball, you got no chance for a hit. But if you're trying to put it where it's pitched, and you see the semi shift, great job by Camargo, and an early lead for Braves. And you know what they're trying to think, not too far ahead, but they know what's at stake for today's game, and really for this series coming in.
Brings up veteran catcher Kurt Suzuki. Another first pitch missing. Arrieta making just his second start this year against the Braves and his first since May. Pitched very well that day, 6 2/3 scoreless, struck out 7. Different story at least early on this afternoon, however.
Well, it's been a different story for the Philadelphia Phillies in the second half. All the expectations of these last 7 out of 11 games about a month ago, with the race being as tight as it was. The second half has not been really good to Philly. They lost a bunch of series. They lost a lot of tough games late. Whereas the second half for the Braves, although be it streaky, was much better, and they took a hold of this division really in the last 2 weeks.
Santana off the bag at first, 2 outs. You look at the Phillies this season through August the 11th. Well, the pitching number really stands out. 65-51 the record since that time. 13-24 and ERA pushing 5.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of good pieces moving forward. That's why, as an organization, you've got to feel good about where they're going to sit next year, even if it didn't finish or sit well with them on this year's campaign. But they have done a lot of good things that put that organization in an ability to spend money and change their path. But they just lost their way out of the pen a little bit, lost a lot of tough games. You know, in baseball, when you lose a game, you could just say, well, we lost a game. It's how you lose a game sometimes that really has a lasting effect and impact on your team.
2 outs for Ozzie Albies. He got things going last night of the 7th with his first home run since September the 3rd. An all-star this year.
Got off to such a great power start to his season. A lot of home runs. Has a heavy bat from the left side, just looking to drop the barrel on the pitch.
1-2. How about last night? This was the big 7th, and it was Albies to get things going. Pat Neshek knew it right away.
See, that's just a longer, heavier bat, sidearm pitcher, and always doing what he's done most of the year. He saw the first half, 20 home runs.
He played like an MVP the first month and a half.
Well, this league will always find a way to adjust and unlock a door and try to figure out where weakness is.
Slapped into left. Hoskins galloping over to make the catch. A lengthy bottom of the first for Arrieta as the Braves have claimed an early 2-0 lead. This is sponsored by Charles Schwab. Own your tomorrow. Happy to have you with us for Fox Saturday Baseball as the Braves have an early 2-0 lead going to the 2nd. Mike Foltynewicz just 6 pitches to get the 3 outs. Meanwhile, Arrieta really laboring 25 pitches in the bottom of the 1st.
Santana will make you throw 6 or 7 every time he steps in the box. One of the things he's known for is he will take his walks. And of course, the Phillies signed him to a contract this offseason. He's not had the year typically that they were looking for by numbers alone, but he's serving a purpose and will obviously be a big part of their organization moving forward.
Oh yeah, he's the third baseman for the Phillies now, right?
Well, I don't know about that, but
or shortstop at least.
That's the one thing that you know, Philly fans and of course people around baseball are waiting to see how Philadelphia addresses the defense that has not been a great. It's not been a great asset for them this year. They've sacrificed a couple positions for offense, and the plus minus, if you will, hasn't maybe worked out the way they thought.
Well, Gabe Kapler really tailors his starting lineup on a daily basis based on, is it a fly ball pitcher or a ground ball pitcher on the mound. Full count as he swings through 96.
Like I said, this is about the average amount of pitches. It seems like Santana, when he's at the plate, makes you work. Got aggressive there, 3-1, swung outside the zone.
Well, as you thought, a leadoff walk. First man to reach for the Phillies. It brings up their catcher, Wilson Ramos.
I thought at the trade deadline, Philadelphia did about as good as you can do. I mean, this was a great trade here to get Ramos. And you think about the position they were in, and they were acquiring a lot of guys to try and strengthen a young core and a young pitching staff to, at that time, you know, put them over the top or give them the boost they needed to make the run towards the playoffs.
Ramos, a broken bat, soft fly ball. Easy play for Ender Inciarte, out number 1. But that being said, John, were you surprised that the Phillies did not go out and get a starting pitcher? You look at what they did at the deadline: Asdrubal Cabrera, Wilson Ramos, Justin Bour, Jose Bautista. So some veteran offensive players, not a starting pitcher though.
Yeah, I really like their young arms. I really like Pivetta. I like Eflin. I like where they're going. I love Velasquez. I think there's an opportunity to really build on this rotation. Of course, Jake was to come in and kind of stable that. And oh, by the way, one of the best pitchers in the game, and Aaron Nola. So
off the bat of Quinn, has some carry in front of the track. Cunha gets to it. 2 down.
So the thing that I think you got to do, and because the way they do things analytically in the blend, they're not asking pitchers, of course, to pitch 7-8 innings. So getting a starting pitcher, probably, although it would have been nice, maybe not their greatest need. The bullpen was something that ultimately, you know, kind of undid them a little bit.
For more on that, we say hello to Ken Rosenthal. Kenny?
Well, guys, the argument for getting a starting pitcher was that Eflin and Pivetta and Velasquez were younger guys, and this is their first taste of going deep into a season. So that is where you could have said, okay, Philly, why not do that? But they weren't quite sure that they were that good a team, and they knew that going forward, they would have to address some things. A left-handed starter is a premium for this club. They weren't ready to give up top prospects. Maybe this offseason will be different.
And we will find out. Dansby Swanson settles underneath it. After that leadoff walk, the next 3 batters retired on the first pitch. To the bottom of the second, Braves on top. Podcast is sponsored by Gillette, the best a man can get. And by Verizon, now go mix and match family unlimited plans. Beautiful SunTrust Park here in Atlanta. Braves lead at 2-0. Shortstop Dansby Swanson leads it off for the Braves.
See that first pitch right there? It just tells me that he's not connected with the ball or his mechanics, and he's grinding. He's trying to find it because that ball cut about a foot. You know, from time to time, even in the 2 great years that he had with Chicago and the Cy Young year and all the different things that he was, there'd be a couple moments where he'd lose the strike zone, but it would only be a batter or 2. And the first inning, you saw that lack of consistency cost him 2 runs.
Arrieta had that phenomenal 2015, particularly the second half. He won the Cy Young that year.
You know, if you're a right-handed batter facing him, I don't know how it looks like you could ever see the ball because he throws way across his body. His eyes at one point in slow-mo are looking at the third base dugout. And then by creating all that spin and movement, it makes it very difficult for a right-hander to track. So watch him. He's going to close up, and his front side is going to be way across his body, and then there it is.
Santana up the line, foul ground, puts it away. Well, we've got 2 huge college football games coming up next on Fox. First, it's number 17 TCU taking on their in-state rival Texas, followed by number 18 Wisconsin battling Iowa in a Big Ten showdown, all on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Kinnick Stadium with the lights on, that is a fantastic place to catch a game. Not an easy place for a visitor. 1 up, 1 down. Here is the pitcher, Mike Fultonevich. And we have chronicled how hard Fultonevich throws, and it was interesting, John, hearing him talk yesterday about how he learned how good his stuff is by facing other pitchers. And when another pitcher would throw 92 and it felt unhittable to him, and he realized, well, wait, I can touch triple digits.
Yeah, it is a different perspective when you start realizing, you know, BP is one thing, but when you face other pitchers and the stuff that these guys possess today is, nobody argues the velocity is greater, the athletes are greater, but some of the byproducts fundamentally are not greater, and it does carry over into the game, which translates into some type of different game that, you know, you get used to watching. But the point is, when you stand in the box, I can remember the first time I tried to hide it as long as I could. I couldn't hit a fastball over 92 miles an hour to save my life. And so I got lucky and hit some breaking balls and did some damage on that. And then once that gets out, you never see it again. You just get nothing but fastballs. And I knew how limited I was going to be once the velocity started creeping in. But it does help you go out to the mound and not put so much. Pitchers at times will give hitters way too much credit and vice versa, and you just have to know that it's not that easy.
And he spins Fultonevich around like a top for the second strikeout this afternoon for Arrieta.
Well, he didn't throw many strikes in this at bat, but Fulte helped him out with a chance to go deep. But it's not too often you see a guy's jersey number when he's finished swinging.
One time through the order now for Arrieta.
You got to be careful on the first pitch. He knows it. Arrieta knows the scouting report. This kid's been unbelievable, and of course the whole city here has been waiting his arrival, and all he's done since he showed up has proved why he belonged, and more than likely going to win the Rookie of the Year between him and Soto.
He has been incredible. 20 years old, and you can understand why a fan favorite. It was interesting talking to Arrieta yesterday, having pitched against Acuna, having pitched against Soto, and I'm just shaking his head. The youth in this game right now and how good in particular these two are. One of these guys has taken home that Rookie of the Year award.
Yeah, no doubt. They've been tremendous, and you start forecasting what the future looks in their current organizations. Sky's the limit.
Of course, Soto, as you saw, just 19.
I will say this about Soto. He has more of a approach to the game anti what most guys have. He has a two-strike approach. He doesn't just swing for the fences. He'll take his walks and see the high average.
Up the middle, diving stop. Kingery can't hold on.
He would have had a hard time getting him even if he did come up with it.
It's an infield base hit.
So some of the things you never see in baseball anymore, you can almost fill in the blank with when's the last time you saw blank? A pitch out, a stolen base. Well, we saw a stolen base on the very first pitch last time Acuna got on first. So even though a lot of teams don't value running and stolen bases, there's still some teams out there that will take advantage of their youth and athleticism, and I would anticipate Acuna at some point take advantage of the slower delivery of Arrieta.
I want to keep him close.
But what is the last time? Can you remember the last time we've seen a pitch out?
My conversations with people around the game this year about pitch outs have led to something that I knew nothing about until this year, John, and that is the modified pitch out. Which I can't explain to you.
High fastball usually.
But that has become the thing as opposed to the pitch out, right?
Yeah, well, part of the reason decline of the pitch out or the hit and run or certain fundamentals that, hit behind the runner and so on and so forth, get him over, get him in. That stuff, that talk you don't hear very much. Part of that is because guys just don't run anymore. Teams don't value that. And I think it's a huge mistake. I think teams like Boston that make them so complete, they run, they put stress on the pitcher. There's stress right now on Jake Arrieta with two outs. In most teams, they would create no stress for him. And therefore, there'd be no carryover to the batter getting the benefit of the base runner creating stress for the pitcher.
And to right field. Acuna making the turn, and he coasts into third base. Inciarte with a two-out single, and the Braves threatening once again. Runners on the corners, bottom of the second.
See, because what happens for a pitcher when he's out there, he's now got to think about two things instead of one, and in some cases it's three things. So now he's trying to make a good pitch, but he's also trying to be a little quicker, so you never know where the carryover affects either a not as good a slider or not as good as fastball. So putting that in a pitcher's mind, it goes a long ways.
Acuna and Inciarte both been on base twice as we play in the bottom of the second. Here is Freddie Freeman. Struck out on a vicious slider back in the first.
Freddie has such an unorthodox way and such a great way of getting the barrel of the bat to the ball. It's not, you wouldn't teach this with any youngster. You wouldn't teach the way he kind of finishes. That's why the wrist injuries were so concerning, because of his finish, the short finish. But he has the ability, much like Joey Votto, to hit for power, average, and really not strike out that much.
Now he's got a chance every year for a slash line of 300, 400, 500. That's how good Freddie Freeman is, and especially for the last couple of years, few years really, has been lost from a national perspective here in Atlanta, despite putting up good numbers when he's been healthy. Braves just have not been competitive until this year. And Inciarte taken off, fouled away.
Well, and Freddie's always going to be in the conversation under the wire. He's an MVP candidate every year, and his name should be tossed around this year for MVP. He's probably not going to win it, but you start talking about other people and you just go, oh, well, that's just a normal Freddie Freeman year.
And add in the defense to that as well.
Yeah, it's very, very underrated. Well, he's not underrated. Everyone knows how good his defense is at first base.
And Inciarte is in safely. That's the second bag for the Braves, and the 28th this year for Ender Inciarte.
See, like that would have been a perfect example. 1-2 to throw a pitch out and try to get the out without Freddie getting an opportunity to drive in a run or two.
So 2 in scoring position now with 2 outs. The 2-2. Cracked up the middle, base hit. Acuna's waving in Inciarte. And this duo come to the plate once again. Both cross. And it's 4-0 Braves. Freeman into second.
Can't afford, no pitcher can afford to make a non-competitive pitch. This slider right here, watch how it just spins right there. And that is a Freddie Freeman staple. Foot down, keeps his hands inside, doesn't try to do too much, goes right up the middle. And then, of course, the youngster who got this started with 2 outs in the infield hit, playing third base coach as well and waving him in. That just wasn't one of the better pitches that Jake can throw. His stuff is so good at times. It moves so much. I've already documented that. That one did not.
Markakis now the batter, looking at strike 1.
But just another example of runners in scoring position for a team that has just done this all year. And we ask managers and other teams what makes a good team with runners in scoring position, because that's the one statistic that's kind of hard to gauge why some teams are good and why they're not. And some of the answers that come out are just pretty simple. We don't expand the zone and we hit strikes. If you don't expand the zone, you don't try to do too much, and you hit strikes, you must realize the pitcher doesn't like the situation he's in. So he's trying to make pitches out of the zone. And if you don't do that, you bring it back in the zone.
Kingery, long throw to first base, and that will end the inning. And another 2 cross for Atlanta, and through 2 innings, Acuna and the Braves lead it 4-0. The Braves as we go to the top of the 3rd, 4-0 Atlanta. Scott Kingery leads it off. Looks at a first pitch strike from Fultonevich. Well, we go inside the Phillies dugout, and it's a real treat to be joined by truly one of the best pitchers in the game this year, Aaron Nola, having a masterful breakout season. Aaron, an all-star year for you. You will start tomorrow. You're just a couple of pitches shy of 200 innings. It'll be your 32nd start. How much fun have you had this season?
I've had a lot of fun. It's been a really good team. I mean, we've definitely had a better year this year than last year. We got a lot of good guys, like more older guys than we did last year. So kind of following their lead and learning a lot of things.
Aaron, I'm intrigued with this process. I think both teams are going to be better for having gone through a season like this and experiencing playoff baseball and the opportunity. And for yourself personally, you know, I love where your staff is going and the potential, but what have you learned, and can you even look at, you know, things you want to improve on as the year draws near?
Yeah, I've learned a lot about myself this year, and I think as pitchers, that's the one biggest thing we can do for ourselves is learn a lot about our bodies and our mechanics and how we work, you know, in tough times, through the ups and downs. And that's where the older guys have come in. That's where Arrieta's come in with our young pitching staff to kind of guide us through things like that, because he's been through his ups and downs and has had his successes. So just to watch a guy's presence on the mound, if he's doing good or bad, and then his presence in the dugout in the clubhouse really helps us out a lot.
Okay, Aaron, you talk about presence. I have a question that is not my own, but I pass it along. This question comes from your skipper. We were talking to Gabe Kapler this morning, of course, and we were talking to him about you. And he, first of all, Aaron, is in awe of your overall makeup and what you do on the field and off the field. He wants to know, where do you find this ability to stay so calm all the times? Because it's something that he finds to be remarkable, especially for a player of your youth.
Honestly, I learned it from my brother coming up. I used to watch him a lot in high school, in college. Went to a lot of his games in college, and we actually had the chance to play with each other one year at LSU. And just to watch him play the game, when he's not having a good game, when he's having a good game, he's the same person. He doesn't, you know, get out at the plate or strike out and then take it out in the field, or vice versa. He forgets about it and he goes about his business. So he's taught me a lot in the baseball aspect and in the life aspect of things.
This is J.P. Crawford, by the way, pinch hitting for Jake Arrieta. So the Phillies starter day is done much sooner than he would have hoped.
So now to, you know, kind of a serious pitcher's question, okay? Is a home run in your future at the plate?
I hope so.
Talk to me about, yeah, I mean, 3, 4, I mean, it's a home run in your future.
Yeah, I hope so. I just trying to hit the ball right now. Just trying to touch it. I mean, I faced Scherzer a couple of times. This stuff can really get a pitcher's confidence down at the plate.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe in my future.
Well, you guys are definitely facing a lot more velocity today, so I know as pitchers, we all try to take pride in that area, and I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah.
Now, Aaron, we will be talking pretty shortly here to one of your college teammates, Kevin Gausman, now a member of the rotation for the Braves, of course, former first-round draft pick of the Orioles. Now, what do we need to know? What do we need to know about Kevin Gausman? He's pitching very well, by the way, with Atlanta.
What do y'all need to know? Well, he lives in Baton Rouge now in the offseason, so we get a chance to hang out a little bit and throw on the days over at LSU. And yeah, we were with each other for a year at LSU. He's a great guy, man. I'm happy for him. Happy that he's doing good right now. I mean, I've always seen his potential and how good he is, and to come over here from the Orioles, from the AL East, you know, do what he's done for the Braves. It's pretty fun to watch from this side, you know, coming from a friend.
So there's no particular bus ride or something where one of you guys got left behind or anything like that that we need to be aware of to bring up to Kevin?
Not that I know of. I could probably think of some things. If y'all give me like 20 minutes, I could probably think of a couple things.
Here's a 2-out walk after a couple of strikeouts. Hernandez is aboard. Well, Aaron, it has been a masterful season for you, and your name has been circled with some of the greats in the game this season for good reason. Good luck tomorrow in your 32nd start of the season, and congrats once again on a terrific campaign.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Way to go, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
What a curveball by that young man.
Well, he's just a pitcher, and the thing that, you know, we lose sight of in today's game is we don't hear that term very often. Pitchers. We hear great stuff in throwers, and And I'm telling you, neck and neck for the whole year has been this three-man race, really. I'm just here to tell you, by the way, it's not the easiest place for his home park to pitch, and he's done a great job. That just speaks to his type of year. I know we got all kinds of analytics that measure supposedly park adjusted this and that, but I'm just telling you, he pitches, and good luck trying to follow what he's trying to do to a hitter, because he'll throw any pitch anytime, and a lot of times they're strikes.
Two outs, runner aboard. That's Hernandez at first. Well, this is the most taxing inning so far for Foltynewicz, which is not really saying much. 6 pitches in the first, 9 pitches in the second. Two and two. All right, well, let's talk pitcher home runs, John. Now, take us back. This is against the Phillies.
Don Carmen.
1989. Now, did you know it right away?
Oh, this ball was smoked. I don't even know why he went after it. I don't even know why the center fielder went after it. 428, I think it was. If I can remember correctly.
A curtain call.
Yeah, that's when I had hair. I could take that helmet off.
Foltynewicz gets Hoskins. And a runner is left. We go to the bottom of the third. 4-0 Braves. Go to his bullpen quite this early. As we go to the bottom of the third, Jake Arrieta is done for the day. Eniel De Los Santos, who has not pitched since last Sunday, so he needs to get some innings in. He's on to work here to begin the bottom of the third. He faces Johan Camargo. Camargo's driven in 2 already.
See, he's got a short arm delivery, which means the backswing of his arm's not real long, and changeup, which you saw right there, has good depth to it. 93 plus mile an hour fastball and a curveball. So it almost looks like he just kind of short arms the ball, get up there, and lower 3/4 release point.
The 0-2.
When you see a traditional arm swing, it'll go back and almost in one motion, but it's just quick to the spot, and then because of his frame and the way he comes out of it, sometimes will get underneath it, but deceiving. You see how sneaky 96 can be when it doesn't look like someone's throwing very hard in their effort.
Another 0-2.
Well, there won't be a shortage of pitchers available in today's game, especially in September with roster call-ups. Never have I ever seen so many teams that are in a winning formula or chance to win. Normally, you know, 3 to 5,
sure,
6 most would be called up. Not anymore. I think it's 40 for the Phillies, right?
It
39 or 40.
It is absolutely 40, which we believe is the first time in Phillies franchise history. And John, I think it's the first time ever. I mean, have you ever heard of a team calling up all 40?
I have not heard of a team calling up 40 when they were in the hunt for the playoffs. And the Braves have a lot too as well. And they're not the only teams. You look over in the American League, the same scenario playing out, you know. But so we could see a lot of pitchers is what I'm
Well, there are
trying to prepare you
16
for.
members of the Phillies bullpen.
How many?
Now.
Say that again.
16.
16 pitchers. We got to fix that problem.
Well, they are a duck in the sun right now. Wise move.
Baseball has always been floating the idea, or at least people talk about, you know, what to do in September and the call-ups and all of that. I will say this. I've always felt as a player, I feel it now as a broadcaster, it's really not fair for the most important month of the season to be played the way it's played, with options coming out of the pen you would never have in August, from April to August. You know, if there's ever a time to really help a ball club, it's in April. Out of spring training. September you can have, let's just say 28 is the number, 28 roster.
And now why in April?
Well, April, you're coming out of spring training, and typically the weather and all the different things, you're not as ready in April as you would typically be ready in September.
The 11th pitch, grounded deep right side. Hernandez with a nifty move and a throw on target.
So, you know, the conventional idea or wisdom would be, hey, call up however many you want, but each day in September have a 28-man roster, and you can't not take off your starters because they can't pitch that day. Like, you got to keep it relevant to the game, that when you're playing all season and then all of a sudden you got 6 lefties in the pen, you never had 1 or 2. I just think it's got to change in the future. Hopefully we'll get to that.
In steps Suzuki. Ken, what say you?
Well, there's an easy fix here, and it was discussed in the last collective bargaining negotiations, and I'm not sure why it was never implemented. What they discussed was just what John said, 28 in September, maybe you carry more, but just make 28 active. And then to accommodate the loss of service time for players in September, you increase the roster size for the first 5 months of the season to 26, go from 25 to 26. Again, this was discussed, it was not implemented, and here we are again, playing by different rules in September.
You know, guys, the thing that strikes me about this being so odd is that there are some rule changes that some people would like that you can understand why others might not like them. Right? Like eliminating the DH in the National League. You can understand why a large segment of the fan base would not like that move. This seems like something that is universally desired, both by fans and you would think by skippers as well, even though so many skippers use these rules to their advantage. It doesn't seem like any of them actually like it. Ken?
Well, that's the thing, Aaron. If you allow a Phillies team or any other team to use 40, they're going to press every advantage available to them. That's why they have 40. Other teams, as John said, are doing the same. That's why, in many cases, not just this particular example, you have to legislate against teams taking advantage of the rules and make better rules.
Well, something needs to happen. Count still 3-2 on Suzuki.
You know, it used to be, I don't know how it started the first time they talked about doing this in baseball, but it used to be for teams that were out of it, you got a chance to look at players. You got a chance to see players you normally wouldn't see. And for the longest time, if a team that was out of it was playing a team that was in it, they played it close to the vest for the integrity of the game. But now there's so many people and there's so many guys being used that I don't know that you can hold to that. That's why it's dangerous to play a team that's not in the playoffs, because they don't play conventional anyways, because they're trying all kinds of different things. But hopefully someday, you know, they'll make some adjustments, because it's an important month and a lot of resources and games played totally different.
Albies spoils away the first pitch.
By the way, I do have to say, again, I'm still enamored with Gore, who was always called up for Kansas City as a threat of a base runner.
This is Terrence Gore you're talking about.
Terrence Gore. He checked in not too long ago and got his first major league hit with the Chicago Cubs. And I can only imagine what that would have felt like after 6 or 7 years, where one of the most feared men on the base, but had not gotten on the base via a hit in his career, and now he can check that box off.
Ball and 2 strikes to Albies. Well, look no further than last night's Dodgers-Padres game. It's your classic 5-3, 9-inning contest. Dodgers used 9 pitchers. 5 of them went fewer than an inning. Used 15 pitchers in total. It was a 3-hour, 57-minute ball game, John, and the game went so long that sadly, this game was being played at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers had to cancel their post-game fireworks because it became too late in the night.
Well, there's your example.
Pounded out to Hernandez. He's got it there, and that will end the inning. So the side retired in order for the first time by a Phillies pitcher. We go to the 4th. A win today for Atlanta, and they win their first division title since 2013. Really is remarkable. Both these teams losing 90 games, not just last year, each of the last 3 seasons. Of course, the Phillies had the top spot in the division in the early days of August. They have since been surpassed by these Braves. Dubal Herrera leads it off and looks at strike 1.
Well, and it's really going to be interesting moving forward. I know the Braves have stockpiled and have a lot of talent. That a lot of it's been on this field this year and getting experience. Whereas the Phillies have not only acquired some talent, building a good pitching staff, but have supposedly a lot of money to spend in this year's free agent class coming up.
Out to Freddie Freeman. Fultonevich in the basket makes the catch for out number 1. Now the MLB postseason begins October 2nd with the NL Wild Card on ESPN, and October 3rd the American League Wild Card on TBS. Then October 4th the National League Division Series begins on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
Interesting twists last night, right? Can't assume anything after the sweep of the Rockies. Many people said, well, it looks like the Dodgers are on their way to win that division. Padres come in town. You mentioned that the game stats, and not so fast.
Not so fast. Rockies and Diamondbacks squaring off. There was Carlos Santana, 1 out, nobody on, top of the 4th. Of course, if it comes down to the final series of the season for the Dodgers, if they have not clinched at that point, if it's still neck and neck. Now they will be playing a Giants team that is very much out of it. But what would help salvage that season a little bit for Bruce Bochy and the Giants?
I'm telling you, you're talking about when I was a player, a benefactor of that rivalry twice. In 1991, we needed the Giants to beat the Dodgers. It happened. We were able to move on. In 93, we needed the opposite, and it happened.
Camargo there in shadow left, 2 outs.
So yes, it doesn't look great, but it's a rivalry.
Time will tell. Hey, John, let's go back. Let's flash back to 1991. Speaking of clinching the National League West, that was against the Astros, and then how about this? Game 7, 91 NLCS. Braves at Pirates, complete game by you, complete game shutout out of the World Series against the Twins. The worst of first season.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. My kids are all now out of the house. They can finally stop seeing that video as they wake up every single morning. But that never gets old. That is like it happened yesterday.
Now they can just have it on their phones. Freddie Freeman.
Or not.
Side retired in order. Fultonevich has cruised for the most part in 3 of the first 4 innings. For $25.99, watch every out-of-market regular season game live. Plus, get a free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this limited time offer. All Braves early on, 4-0 as we open up the bottom of the fourth. Dansby Swanson leads it off for Atlanta. We go inside the Braves dugout. We say hello to Atlanta starting pitcher Kevin Gausman. And Kevin, of course, you coming over from the Orioles to the Braves. You made 9 starts. You pitched very well for Atlanta. What's it been like for you to be infused right away into a playoff atmosphere where, of course, today you guys have a chance to clinch?
Yeah, it's been fun. Unfortunately, the season kind of got away from us in Baltimore, and I was a part of that, unfortunately. But was happy to come over here, and we've been playing great baseball. Obviously, before I got over here, they put themselves in a great position and had a good first half. So really, I just tried to kind of be the guy not to mess that up, and take the ball when they needed me to, and try to kind of get some relief to some of those relievers out there. When I can go deep in the games.
Now, Anibal Sanchez is seemingly very much in agreement to everything you're saying. Is this what we're reading?
Yeah, I don't think he can hear anything, but he's just nodding in approval, I guess.
Well, you're doing a great job under the circumstances of seeds being thrown at you and someone at your side. And I'm sure you've been asked this, but what changes or what things were you able to make besides a pennant race coming over here, whether it's mechanically or just information? Was there anything that helped click for you a little bit?
Yeah, I think it was a mixture of both. Coming over, I threw my first bullpen and really kind of, was pitching out of the stretch in that bullpen and felt really good. And so, Chuck Hernandez, thanks guys, thanks. Thank you.
It's tough. It's tough doing this for a living, isn't it?
It's a hot day out here. Yeah, gotta hydrate. But yeah, and then I just decided to take it into the game and really tried to focus on staying back and using my backside more and pitching and like Anibal is saying, using my changeup and pitching in, and yeah, another changeup, splits, and just coming over, tried to make a couple adjustments, and obviously they've worked out. And so, I've also just kind of been more consistent over here too. So.
Now, was that Acuna over there that was just on your shoulder?
Maybe, I don't know. We got a mixture of guys around here. It's September, so we got about 50 guys in the dugout, and you never know who's touching you most of the time.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, you got to tell us, what has it been like watching Ronald Acuna Jr. every day? He very well could obviously win the National League Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he's incredible. He, every single day he seems to come to the ballpark, and that's one thing that's amazing about these young guys is they're showing up, ready to play baseball, and that's what they're focused on. And so when you have young guys like that obviously he's a 5-tool player too, it's fun to watch every day. And I noticed it, the first game coming over, we stole 4 bags before the 4th inning, and he led off the game with a triple, I think. So, just a different brand of baseball than I've been used to seeing over in the American League East. And all these young guys, they bring a lot of energy, and they've been really fun to watch this year.
Wow. By the way, I think was the first sack bunt where the hitter never left the batter's box.
Yeah. Well, this up and in, and he just made sure he could get it fair.
He got it down, though.
You got it down. I was going to ask you, and I think I know the answer. You guys are having a lot of fun. Obviously, success breeds fun, but you're young. It's energetic. I can only imagine what's on TV in the clubhouses with this young team. Is there ever a dull day? It doesn't seem like it.
No, that's the weird thing. They're pretty focused on baseball. When it comes to the game time, they just kind of go out there and compete and have fun. And I think these young guys kind of bring a little bit of life into maybe some of the older veterans too. So, it's fun, and it creates a great atmosphere, and it makes it really fun to come to work. And this ballpark is beautiful too. So, it's a great place to come to the park every day.
Meanwhile, Swanson cut down at third. Ramos very alert behind the plate. 1-2. Now, where'd you get the banana?
I think Tukey gave me this banana, or Julio.
Now, you know, Bert Blyleven, Hall of Fame pitcher, had the great line of, when asked about why he eats so many bananas, he simply said, "Have you ever seen a weak monkey?" That was good enough for Blyleven. The 1-2. Now, Kevin, we talked to your former college teammate, Aaron Nola, your former rotation mate in Baton Rouge. Now, I know you make your home there in LSU territory. Now, what do we think about LSU football this year? I mean, beat Miami, maybe a soft Miami team. The win at Auburn. What do you think quickly? What do you think? How far are you guys going?
I don't know. You know, we'll see. It always kind of depends on our quarterback. So we'll see what this kid's made of. But you know, they got a good win last weekend. So looking forward to it.
Hey, Kevin, enjoy the banana. Thanks for the time. Roman Quinn leads it off in the top of the 5th for the Phillies. Out to center field. Ciarte comes in a few strides. 1 out. Fultonevich. 6 pitches in the first, 9 in the second, and again in the 4th. 2 pitches to first out here in the 5th. Now facing Franco.
Yeah, I talked about that carryover effect for the Phillies, and it might have a little bit to do with today. And their previous 4 games, they made him work awfully hard for everything that he had to get. Pitch count way up, and hadn't been the case today. A lot of early swings, early outs, and they're on the backside of a 4-0 game as we speak.
Smoked, and what a catch by Camargo at third. Almost took his glove right off.
You might want to remember this one later.
You're right about that.
Now, a big separator between the 2 teams defensively. He's right on the line because of Franco and the way he pulls, but nonetheless, the reaction time is not very much for a third baseman, the hot corner. And the crowd obviously appreciating, as well as Fultonevich.
Incredible catch. And steps Scott Kingery, the shortstop. 4 pitches, 2 outs.
More so than ever now, guys are positioned with charts and information on basically the tendency of every hitter that steps in the box, and Whereas before you kind of defended on the way the pitcher pitched and where he was trying to entice the hitter. Not so much today. So everything's charted and plotted. And never can I remember seeing more guys go in their back pockets and look at codes and information. And
no, they're not codes.
They're not codes. They're not some mystic code.
An algorithm.
Algorithm.
The 1-1. Easy pop-up. Albies making sure everybody, including the umpire, stays clear. It's another 1-2-3 inning out of the bottom of the 5th. In the top half of this inning, helping for another speedy frame for Fultonevich. Meanwhile, Gabe Kapler on his 3rd pitcher. Aaron Loop takes over for the Phillies. Acquired at the deadline from the Blue Jays. He faces center fielder Ender Inciarte.
You see the lower 3/4 sidearm delivery. He's tough on lefties, as you can imagine. Curveball, sweeps it. Slider, sinker, cutter, and change. He's got it all from a quite different angle, as they say.
Oh, 1-2. Now Luke missed some time with a forearm strain, making only his 6th appearance for the Phillies.
Crowd here is clapping because of the clouds. It's a hot one here. The clouds are covering most of the stadium. You see them, the ones that finally get in the shade will start clapping. Been a hot summer and start to, I guess you could say, start to fall.
First day of fall today. One hopper right back to Loop. 1 out. Today's telecast is sponsored by MasterCard. One down for Freddie Freeman, who extended his hitting streak to 7 games. Went through a bit of a lull not all that long ago, but Boy, he's smoking hot once again, batting .400 his last 13 games. He's been one of the most productive hitters in the league all season.
I'm telling you, I know a lot of people might be a little bit down because of the way the Phillies are finishing, especially in their hometown. You know, high expectations, but it's all going to serve well, I promise you. But even if the Phillies were to make the playoffs, let's say you inject them in, the formula for a team like Philly and Atlanta, when you get to the postseason, you need 2 hot hitters, 2 hot starters, and 2 basically hot bullpen guys. That can carry you through a series. These teams, both if they represented the playoffs, would be very difficult for their opponents because of those things that I just mentioned.
Now Freeman about as hot as they come right now. Our powerful cleanup hitter, sponsored by Swiffer. You can see last 13 games a .400 hitter, 5 extra base hits, an OPS of over 1,000. The 2-run single earlier today. A win today for the Braves, and they clinch the division. Kevin Seitzer, their hitting coach, longtime big leaguer.
Walt Weiss next to him, former teammate, former manager of the Rockies.
We saw Ron Washington earlier. This is a for real big league coaching staff the Braves have.
Yeah, they've done a nice job. Alex has done a nice job coming in here as GM, and like I said, putting a fingerprint on his arrival and some of the things they've been doing.
There's Eric Young Sr., the first base coach.
I played with a lot of these guys who are now coaches, and certainly the time frames. But you know, when you start broadcasting teammates' sons.
Out to center. Quinn well in front of the track, 2 outs. Back to LA, Mike Hill for a game break. That's good to know, Mike. The average has not been the same this year as it was last year, but he's been a major run producer since the break. You can see the National League wild card standings. Brewers and Cardinals, one of the top 2 spots entering today. First pitch strike to Markakis with 2 outs.
Yeah, you want to talk about a dangerous team that you don't want to play in the playoffs. Milwaukee Brewers with that bullpen. In the National League, the bullpens have been a little less than stellar for the most part. In an era where everyone's trying to build their club from the bullpen forward, it used to be you build your club from the starters on down. The Brewers have the potential to lock you down from the 5th inning on with the relievers that they have put together.
Just one back in the win column from the Cubs.
And the Cubs, on the other hand, have lost a couple relievers, key relievers. And so as much as everyone believes that the Cubs are going to be in the postseason, which all looks like it's going to, they're trying to figure things out on the fly and who can fill that void.
On the ground and a deep backhand, Hernandez. Santana gets in the air enough, and the side retired in order, basing the minimum for the 3rd straight inning. Telecast is sponsored by the well-connected 2019 NKC and by Boost Mobile. Get the best value in national prepaid wireless. Easy to switch, easy to save. Four nothing Braves. Johan Camargo driving in a pair in the first. Freddie Freeman a two-run single as well in the second. Now a pinch hitter Justin Bohr will lead things off in the top of the sixth. Fultonevich looking strong as ever so far today. Comes across the first pitch, fastball strike.
He's done a good job with his fastball. He hasn't thrown a ton of sliders and given the hitters a bunch of looks at him. His slider is one of the hardest pitches to hit by hitters. And he follows up that fastball with a really good changeup. Of course, the Phillies went and got Bohr as added insurance, primarily off the bench. I think this is one of those guys you wouldn't trade it. He goes from last, obviously, the Marlins, but used to playing, used to getting his reps, and Philly trying to find games to give him those reps.
Well, we're seeing a lot of this. Soft pop-ups. Albies wants it. One down. Now for more on Mike Fultonevich, down to Ken.
Guys, so many things go into a pitcher coming into his own. But for Fultonevich, one of them was his wife Brittany giving birth to their first son Jet on February 10th. In the past, Fultonevich would sometimes lose control of his emotions when things would go awry. But becoming a father did what it does for most of us. It gave him a better perspective. And on top of that, Aaron, talking to him yesterday, he also mentioned a number of things that show his maturity as a pitcher. He's watching video of pitchers like DeGrom and Scherzer. He's reading hitters' swings in a way that he hadn't in the past, making increased use of his slider, doing a lot of things that just help him become the all-star that he is.
Markakis tracking this, and he's able to haul it in. 2 outs.
Well, and that's part of what I was talking about in the industry of baseball, that we don't give guys the time to develop and learn, you know, struggle, bring along their second pitch. We expect the dynamic arms to have the full package of not only physical, but mental and everything else that comes with it. And if you just go back and ask anybody who played, not many people had that package altogether. And so with the mechanical changes he's made and the lack of his blow-ups in certain ways, you know, as a pitcher, I used to have them a lot. I used to find myself getting angry, cracking the whip, not letting things go, and certain things you learn. Well, he's entering that realm now where when you think about a front end of the rotation guy, you're not surprised by some of the things he's able to do once he starts acclimating to Ken's point, to the pitching coach's point, and to the analytical point. He's starting to combine all three of those.
That was right at the knees. He was thinking that was strike 2, instead ball 2.
Great pitch on the bottom part of the zone. See, it catches maybe the lower part of the strike zone.
2-2.
And I'm telling you right now, from what I've seen from afar, his slider has a chance to get even better.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Some of them, you know, he's got, again, because of the velocity he has, he's thrown some that just spin. And when he gets a consistent break to it like that, the ones that we've seen a couple times, it's over.
Back to Markakis. Now Fultonevich is just in the rocking chair today. He faces the minimum for the 4th time in 6 frames. Johan Camargo leads off the bottom of the 6th for the Braves. 4-0 Atlanta. Luis Garcia, the new pitcher for the Phillies. Into center, and it hangs up just enough. Quinn, who has all kinds of speed, comes in. 1 out. Well, today's dynamic play of the game presented by Hankook Tires. How about this one from Camargo at third?
Don't know the velocity off the bat, but I know his reaction time was pretty good and timely. Camargo robbing of extra bases. Garcia, nasty split at times. You'll see the movement drop from shoulders to kneecaps. And then fastball combination that you've seen already at 98. And mixed in a slider. All in the process. Every team's trying to get guys ready so that their bullpen can be talked about as locked down and nasty, and I think the Phillies are on their way. Just got to make a couple changes with a couple guys making adjustments. Gabe Kapler started his season here. Wasn't a great transition to the managerial seat. Had some issues, dealt with it, and got his team really for most of the season in a position to compete and win. And he, in talking to him, he fully acknowledged, you know, some of the mistakes and being able to adjust just like you would as a player. And obviously getting criticized is not something he doesn't mind. He just moves on and adjusts.
Two and two on Suzuki.
And on the other side, Aaron, I can't say enough for obviously knowing the man for 40 years. But Snitker getting a chance to manage this team after all the time he's put in and all the efforts working in the minor leagues, all the games he's managed, paying dividends this year. And you think about our game, and that might be a commodity that's kind of less and less looked at. The guy who's seen it all, knows how to handle the young players through the minor league games he managed, to now being connected strictly to information that comes from above. And Brian has been able to balance both that. Has done a nice job. Would you say it's probably between him and Counsell for manager of the year?
That's very fair.
What do you think?
Out number 2, Suzuki down on strikes. Well, the stage is set. The lights are on as baseball's next generation chases October's crown. The Major League Baseball postseason begins October 2nd. Go to MLB.com/postseason for the full schedule.
Be hard not to give it to Brian Snitker since they're on their way to winning the division. I mean, Milwaukee still has a chance to win a division, so that would be equally as impressive there.
Here's Albies. Because, of course, the Manager of the Year award is not given to automatically the manager who manages the most wins, right? I mean, in this particular case, for Counsell and the Brewers having a fantastic year, well, they went all in this offseason. Right?
Yes,
they acquired 2 superstar outfielders, Kane and Yelich. We know about the talent they had returning. But for the Braves, there's no doubt they are ahead of schedule. Hernandez has been busy, handled at first base by Santana. And for the 4th straight inning, the Braves go down in order as Fultonevich getting ready for the 7th. Well, the sun is the only thing that has made Fulton-Evans sweat so far today. 4-0 Braves. You can see the line. 6 scoreless. The only men to reach so far for the Phillies. A couple of walks. And his pitch count only 62 pitches through 6 scoreless. Here's Herrera to begin things. Looks at a first pitch strike.
And I'm telling you, you never know what might click. We talked about the changes that Fulton-Evans has made. You know, this may be a game he looks back and goes, okay, I can get through this amount of innings and this amount of pitches. Normally at 62, he's through 3. Really, because that's kind of the workload and effort.
And there it goes. Odubel Herrera spoils a no-hit bid. 6 no-hit innings for Fulton-Evans. And this crowd will let him know. Now still the makings of a masterful start.
Herrera hasn't seen a pitch he didn't like in his approach at the plate, so he would have been one of the scarier hitters in this circumstance that Fulte was dealing with, but nonetheless he can still concentrate on trying to get outs, and of course the Phillies are trying to get as many runners on base as they can.
Here's Carlos Santana, last 8 years with the Indians, first year at the Phillies. Signed a 3-year deal this winter. First half was awfully tough for Santana. Been better since the All-Star break, though. 97-mile-an-hour paint, 0-2.
This is where Santana struggles with breaking balls.
Doesn't see one there. Albies long throw down to second. Camargo covering on to first, not in time.
Tell you what, great job by Santana. He got out of the box. Of course, the shift. And the shift is played just about on 50% of the players, it seems like. Albies is going to make this throw a long throw, but watch him get out of the box and realize, okay, I can beat this out. And great job by him and not conceding anything out of the box. And Albies had a long throw. Watch where he's making this throw. Long throw over, kind of pulls Camargo off just a little bit, but the speed of Santana getting down the base kept that from being a double play.
First pitch strike to Ramos. What an offensive weapon he has been for the Phillies, and even with the Rays before that. Coming over from Tampa Bay, where he was an all-star this year. He's hitting .390 in a Phillies uniform this season. Bounding to Albies. Option pass to Swanson. All kinds of time. And that will take us to the stretch. Fulton-Evans faces the minimum for the 4th straight inning. let's put Smart to work. And by Budweiser, takes him out to the ball game. Mike Foltynewicz gives up his first hit. Braves leading 4-0 opening the bottom of the 7th. Really since the early innings. There hasn't been much offense at all. Of course, Phillies just the one hit for the Braves. Their 4 runs coming in the first 2 frames. They've sent the minimum to the plate every inning since the beginning of the 3rd. Dansby Swanson leads it off. Axel Rios, the new pitcher for the Phillies.
Well, and that's part of it too, adjusting to the different pitchers. But I'm telling you, the Braves are different hitters when they get runners on. And certainly they're different hitters when they get to the 7th inning. 2 statistics, they're the best in the National League. From the 7th inning on.
Santana up the line, and he's able to make the catch. 1 out. Well, today's proven performance sponsored by Gatorade, and it is, of course, the starting pitcher for these Atlanta Braves, Mike Foltynewicz, who has just simply been dominant.
He's been on point, and he's thrown strikes and mixed in just enough pitches. He hasn't thrown the kitchen sink to every hitter. And these are the kind of results folks around here are going to get used to out of Mike Foltynewicz. He is progressing nicely.
Now, I would say Foltynewicz has provided us with 2 of the more entertaining plate appearances today. We saw the strikeout facing Arrieta where he spun around in a 360, and then we saw the sac bunt, a very defensive sac bunt, by the way. It was up by his beard where he never even needed to leave the batter's box.
True, absolutely. And you know what he's going to learn in the future when he gets older? When you're in the bottom of the 7th and you're winning 4-0, take 3 pitches, go sit down, save your energy, and keep dealing.
He's been talking to Rich Hill.
Either that or just do what I did. Try to go deep every single time you're at the plate. Try to jog rather than run. He's talking to Rich Hill.
There we go. 2-2.
Rich has got him by a few years.
Three hits this year for Foltynewicz. He has never homered in his career.
Yeah, that's a good approach. I like it.
Number 2. You're a fan of that?
I'm a fan of that. If it's 1-0, you know, grind a little bit.
Well, with 2 outs, nobody on, that brings up Ronald Acuna Jr., and that brings us to Ken.
The All-Star break, Brian Snitker told hitting coach Kevin Seitzer that Acuna needed to start making adjustments. He told Seitzer, I cannot watch it anymore. That's how severe the Acuna situation was for the Braves. And look at what happened here. Before the break on the left, bat is angled on his shoulder after hands away from his body. You see the bat more vertical. This is the difference that enabled Acuna to go on this incredible tear that likely will make him National League Rookie of the Year. He's also opened his stance slightly, and what the adjustments have done, guys, to allow him to see the ball longer and use his hands to maximum effect.
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it, John, for a player that young to make such a drastic change at this level?
It is, and that's what's encouraging about the streaks that he's going to go through. Look, it's a little unorthodox when you talk about and listen to hitters talk what you want to do with that rubber band approach, getting your hands to come back. So there's a big difference there. His hands are going to be up over the plate, and they rarely go back, so he's going to rely on power and a short stroke. Well, he'll learn, and he'll have to adjust to what pitchers are doing to him lately.
Bronco charges, third baseman Hassett. Side is retired in order for now the 5th consecutive inning. But the Braves lead it for Foltynewicz 4-0. Onto the top of the 8th inning, another first pitch strike for Fultonevich facing Roman Quinn.
Tell you what, Roman Quinn has provided for the Phillies another dimension. He's been really good. I know of late probably struggling just a little bit, but his speed, if he can stay durable, I think this guy has a bright future for these guys. Make a lot of things happen in a lot of different ways, and he's been big for him since he started to get more playing time.
There's some time this year with a fractured toe in his right foot, but he's back healthy now, has the speed recovered. Fultonevich with the strikeout, more the same. Just mowing through these Phillies. Our Budweiser game summary, 4-0 Atlanta. Fultonevich the no-hitter going into the 7th before Dubal Herrera snapped it with a single up the middle. Camargo and Freeman each with 2-run singles. And of course the big storyline today here in Atlanta, a win for the Braves, and they clinched their first division title since 2013.
Well, the reason this is so big for Atlanta in the sense of Fulte going this deep,
Swanson having a range, can't get there,
is it does help out that bullpen that's had to be used quite a bit this year, although be at many pieces. But he's definitely got no-hit stuff. I mean, you hear that a lot about some pitchers that just go out there and you think are going to flirt with no-hitters a lot more than they're not. And I want to say he had a game in Cincinnati where he had a no-hitter going into the 9th inning, if my memory serves me correct, but could be wrong.
Well, he has had a pair of complete games this year. Won a shutout against the Nationals. 1-run complete game against the Giants this year as well. Of course, an all-star this season for the first time. Well, here is veteran Asdrubal Cabrera. Switch hitter off the bench.
Schedule was quirky this year. I mean, I just can't imagine facing a team 4 times before May 24th. Both he and Pivetta hooked up 4 straight times.
Now Fultonevich, his numbers this year against the Phillies have been fantastic. Just 5 earned over 23 innings entering today, and 4 of those 5 runs had come on solo homers.
The reason I think the slider is going to get even better, you can see the spin is hard for the hitters to recognize. It's so tight, and he throws it anywhere from 88 to 90 miles an hour. Is probably going to see another one right here. But those are the ones right there. I mean, even though the hitter fouls it off, when you get a little bit to the side of it, you create spin and it spins in the zone. And when it starts turning left every single time.
Now the 3rd inning is the only one where Fultonevich has really had to work. He's faced a minimum 5 times in the first 7 innings. Having to work around a 1-out single here in the 8th.
Last couple, he's just pulled out his front side a little early on the fastball, trying to bury it in and then up. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go to a 3-2 slider right here. And there it was, but just a piece.
The only starting pitcher who throws harder in the National League is Noah Syndergaard. They have the shift on here for Cabrera. Pulls it foul. Would it ever do a pitcher
a benefit to take something off that slider to get more movement
that's what
on
I'm saying.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah, you feel that you start get connected with the touch, and you know that you can. The biggest fear for a pitcher when he throws a slider is you don't want it to back up. You don't want it to spin over the zone. So if you have confidence you're throwing it mechanically correct and it's going to turn, then the velocity is not as important. The velocity creates, an illusion when any ball's cutting or breaking, different than a fastball where it's got a backspin to it. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that you learn over time. You don't just, wake up in the game and it comes naturally.
This will be pitch number 9 to Cabrera. He draws a walk. Third walk today by a Phillies hitter. Well, Thursday nights are about to get a lot bigger as Fox becomes the new network home for Thursday night football. It's the Vikings and the Rams in a battle of NFC heavyweights Thursday at 7:30 Eastern on Fox. Also live on NFL Network and streaming on Prime Video. Now it's a game. Snitker out. Bullpen is warming. And he'll take the ball. Now, standing ovation here in Atlanta for Mike Foltynewicz. No hit stuff here today, exiting in the 8th. Next generation chases October's crown. The Major League Baseball postseason begins October 2nd. Go to MLB.com/postseason for the full schedule. What a performance today by Mike Foltynewicz, done after 7 1/3. Jesse Biddle, the new pitcher. Jose Bautista, former Brave for a brief time, pinch hitting. And a no-hitter through the 6th before Herrera's leadoff single of the 7th.
Well, Biddle, pretty smooth mechanics. 95 miles an hour, fastball and above, curveball with good break. He has a slider as well. See the numbers on the year. Braves are looking to find the order in which they want to finish games.
Wild hack to make it 2-1.
How about Bautista? Made the rounds in the East, didn't he?
It really did.
I think in fairness, you know, they should maybe let him play with Washington the last week and set a record. Well, no, he's still got Miami.
There's time. The 3-1. Full count. Ken?
He told me yesterday, guys, that he wants to play again next season. And his preference will be to join a contender, just as it was his preference this year. Didn't sign until April 18th, minor league deal with the Braves. .338 on base percentage coming into today. That's well above the major league average. The Mets loved him because he could bounce around the field, play some different positions, did it reasonably well. The Phillies love him because he's been such a good influence on their younger players.
First an All-Star every year from 2010 through 2015 with the Blue Jays. Really a late bloomer in his career. Guy who was DFA'd early. Stays alive. And there's a time earlier this season where Bautista was on his couch, got a phone call, then got on a plane, and was at Citi Field that night for the Mets. It's the kind of year it's been for Bautista. And the bases are now loaded. Back-to-back pinch hit walks. Cesar Hernandez climbing inside the batter's box now.
Really nice player for the Phillies right here, and we've seen a lot of good work at second base defensively, but offensively he's made some strides as well. Numbers with the bases loaded not too shabby.
One out, bases loaded. Tie and run at the plate. First pitch strike. Now the Phillies putting together their first threat here in the 8th.
Kind of a similar game in retrospect of what the Braves hung around and then rallied late last night. And Phillies trying to do the same after a rough start. 4-0 after 2. But the bullpen has kept it.
Two balls and a strike. Line into right field in front of Markakis. Franco is in to score. Florimon pinch running crosses home standing. And the Phillies are on the board here in the 8th inning for the first time. 4-2 Braves.
Well, that's not a bad pitch. It's just better hitting. And that's what you got to do when the ability to drive in runs. You can't be selfish and try to think one thing, pass on the baton to the next guy.
And Snitker will make a change. Third pitcher for the Braves this 8th inning, about to take the mound. forms of baseball and softball participation, making play opportunities available and fun for everyone. To learn more, just go to playball.org. The line complete on Fulton average 2 runs, as many hits, 3 walks, 7 1/3. Cesar Hernandez driving in the first 2 runs of the day for the Phillies. Brad Brock, the new pitcher, and a first pitch strike to Rhys Hoskins.
Brad Brock, of course, one of the moves that Alex made, along with Gausman, to get help in the bullpen. You see the numbers on the year, unorthodox way that he throws. He'll create different angles. Slider you just saw right there, sinking, fastball, and a changeup.
Hoskins 32 home runs this year. He represents the go-ahead run for the Phillies. It was so far today.
And when I refer to Alex, new general manager for the Atlanta Braves.
Bautista running at second. Hernandez at first. The 0-2.
Or if you're the Phillies, you want this guy at the plate. One swing of the bat. You can go from down to up real quick. He has tremendous power.
Up the middle, and it's center field for a base hit. Bautista steams around. Inciarte's throw is up the line. Bautista touches home, and the Phillies are within a run. Hoskins delivers in the 8th. 4-3 Atlanta. Still just 1 out.
Another decent pitch, and just doesn't try to do too much and goes up the middle where there's nobody standing. And the Phillies fighting for their playoff lives, hanging in and trying to rally and delay the Braves from at least celebrating today when 4-0 lead and a starting pitcher that was cruising.
We are about to see our 4th pitcher in this 8th inning. Donnie Venters coming on. Three runs here in the top of the 8th. Johnny Venters now back with the Braves on to work here, facing Aaron Altair.
Johnny Venter's always known for tremendous bowling ball sinkers. You hear that where the bottom drops out or heavy. What he's hoping to do is create one of those sinkers to the infielders for a double play.
Falls behind 2-0.
But when I mentioned that both these teams going through this will be better for it, I mean, the one thing that there's no perfect team in baseball, so everybody's got flaws. And both teams here have suffered from time to time with inconsistency out of the pen.
Chop high off the plate. Camargo can't hold on. Right through his legs, and everybody is safe.
Well, if it didn't touch him, it's going to be foul. The question's going to be whether it touched him or not, because the spin of the baseball took it to the foul territory.
And not nick him at all.
Well, you see the spin. He tries to pick it up. Looked like, if anything, the only chance it had was to catch his leg, but don't know that it did. You see the spin of the baseball, missed everything.
That's a great shot.
His first hit, I thought the only play he had was to let it go and see if it would do that. So the hop didn't come up and got rewarded.
Smoked into left field. Acuna coming over, and he makes the catch. Strong throw in. 2 outs.
Phillies have had a great approach in this inning, and they've taken advantage of some pitches. And this ball you mentioned, it was smoked, but Ronald Acuna was over there in plenty of time and made the play. More disciplined hitter in their lineup. Santana at the plate here, trying to get one of those sinkers up in the zone.
Tying run at second.
Wow, that was so nasty it fooled the umpire. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. That's probably the presentation hurt him from Suzuki, but that pitch right down the middle.
In play. Swanson just steps on the bag himself. Now it takes 4 pitchers. Brian Snitker pieces it together. Now the Braves are still on top by a run. sponsored by Verizon. Now go mix and match family unlimited plans. And by Chevy. Chevy has earned J.D. Power Dependability Awards across cars, trucks, and SUVs. A 3-run top of the 8th for the Phillies, who had nothing going through 7 frames. Braves by 1. Adam Morgan, the new pitcher, leads the Phillies in appearances, making his 64th. Inciarte, the hitter for the Braves. Called strike 1. Pedro Florimon has taken over at shortstop. Came on as a pinch runner. Bautista, a pinch hit walk, now in right field. Right back off of Morgan. And he can't recover.
And we're a mile up here, and I can hear that off of what looked like the shoes of Morgan. That ball was stung right up the middle and right off his spikes or foot. I know it doesn't feel good. And here's your living room shot. Skate save and almost a beauty. He had it and then didn't. I was going to say Kapler did a nice job, and the Phillies did a nice job staying in this game. It obviously looked really bad. Arrieta wasn't in rhythm, and
that's going to be it for Morgan. Infield base hit for Inciarte. Kapler's saying, Adam, I got 15 other guys. So new man coming on here. Well, John, we are in the birthplace of John Smoltz as a Hall of Famer. What a career it was. How about this? 1992 NLCS MVP, Cy Young Award, 16 pitcher with 300,000 punch-outs, only pitcher big league history, 200 wins, 150 saves, and all that leading you to Cooperstown. Now, I was hoping that the wig would still be on in that shot.
Yeah, I'm just glad they got the DVD I sent them. That production is on spot today. But no, it's been a pretty special place, obviously, and certainly never experienced this ballpark, third ballpark in this city. But the memories, even though I'm losing a lot of my memory, they're fresh when it comes to, of course, the time here spent. The 20+ years.
Well, we missed you at all the production meetings today because you were being,
still editing.
Oh, is that what it was?
Editing that video we just got done seeing.
You're a pretty popular man around these parts.
I got a chance to see some old faces, and certainly.
Now tell us about these pictures.
Well, this is as good as it gets. Obviously, in '91, I had a horrible first half. Didn't look like I was going to stick in the rotation. Thanks to a lot of my teammates and the team playing better in the second half than I played in the first half. That first picture obviously is the first time we were able to clinch a playoff spot. Lucky enough to go 9, and the second picture was 9 innings of Game 7 to go to the World Series. So 2 prominent memories that I have, and I would be remiss to say that we're in this fine booth where Chip Carey, Joe Simpson, and I will say Tom Glavine's name on air. Tom,
that's very nice.
They do their work here, so I'm glad they're allowing us to share it for the moment and for this stage nationally.
Well, big game today for the Braves. A win if they can hold on, and they win their first division title since 2013. Sir Anthony Dominguez. And we were all blessed with such a great name. A rookie who throws 100. Good ground ball rate as well.
I'm just glad you're pronouncing the names first on the Phillies. They've got a lot of. You're professional.
They're not all easy. Shift is on for Freeman. First to throw to first, past Santana. Inciarte scoots into second. Here's the throw high. Runner in scoring position before Dominguez can throw his first pitch.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not what he had in mind, but because the Braves have run, the potential to run, you got to make sure you're coming into the game, recognizing that that could be a part of it. Santana couldn't come up with it.
An error on the throw. Runner in scoring position now for Freddie Freeman. Deep backhand, Santana. This gets Inciarte over to third. 1 out. Back to Los Angeles. We check in with Mike Hill. All right, thank you, Mike.
Well, Freddie Freeman's had a ton of big hits in his Atlanta Brave career, but none are going to be as appreciated as his ability to get the runner over there, especially if his teammate knocks him in. That's the kind of stuff that's missing, seriously, in the game.
He has Inciarte 90 feet from home. That's now a big run. Couldn't say the same thing an inning ago. Off the hands. Hernandez makes eyes with Inciarte, dancing back and forth over at third. He stays put.
Hernandez is a cool customer over there. Great hands, and certainly with the infield in, was able to make that play easily.
Brings up Johan Camargo, flipping the switch, sponsored by Boost Mobile. How about Camargo? This came back in the first, 2-run single. It was an early 2-0 lead for the Braves through 1. They would add on another 2 runs in the second. They haven't scored since. They're going to put them on.
I'll tell you the other thing, since we're in this booth, and I've been in booths all over the place, Chip Carey said that you're going to love our seats. They're really squishy. And you know what? He's right. Feel real comfortable.
That is a good takeaway. That's very important. Especially the sun has gone away. It's not quite as warm, not quite as bright here in Atlanta. Runners on the corners, 2 outs, bottom 8. Kurt Suzuki, the batter. First pitch, line to left field. Will it hang up? It drops in for a base hit. And Inciarte scores. This gets away, backed up now behind the plate by Ramos. 5-3 Atlanta lead. A huge run batted in by Kurt Suzuki.
Well, slider, middle of the plate, and just enough topspin to get in front for a base hit. And a huge hit as you see the dugout explode, and just realizing that extra cushion in the ninth. Last night they had a 2-run lead and ended up giving up a run and winning by 1 run.
2 outs, 2 on for Albies. Bunting foul. Inciarte reaching on the infield base hit, coming all the way around to score. Two balls and a strike. Missing with 99. Camargo at second intentionally walks Suzuki, the RBI single. Well outside. Dansby Swanson on deck. The 3-1. Bases loaded. Kranitz back out for a talk.
You see, again, anytime you go through something for the first time, there's going to be tension. And that tension creates sometimes the ability to get away from what you normally do. And once you learn how to deal with that tension, you're better for it in the future. Both teams are going to experience that. The Braves look like they're going on their way to experience that well into October.
You know, the run here in the 8th inning for the Braves, their first since the 2nd inning. They led 4-0. Phillies scoring 3 runs in the top of the 8th. Braves get one of those runs back. Of course, a win today and they win the division. Bases loaded for Dansby Swanson. First pitch to Swanson. He swings, lifts this out to left. Hoskins underneath it. To end the inning. Braves get a run. They leave them loaded. We go to the 9th inning. Braves 3 outs away from a division crown. Pitcher here in the 9th. The Braves 3 outs away from a division title. Wilson Ramos, the catcher, first to face Vizcaino. In play up the middle. Albies deep backhand, long throw, all kinds of time, 1 out.
Vizcaino returning, hoping to get him going. Shoulder injury had him on the DL. Of course, you see the athleticism of Albies, no problem, knowing that Ramos was running.
One pitch, one out. Here's Roman Quinn, 0 for 3 today. Ball 1.
Now for Vizcaino, he throws the ball obviously very hard with his fastball, slider command at times. And he gets the combination of his fastball slider going, and it could be a nice 1-2 punch, if you will. Braves looking to find the combination out of the pen moving forward, especially in the postseason.
The difference he must feel pitching here with a 2-run lead instead of a 1-run lead.
Oh, it makes a world of difference, especially what's at stake. You want to finish it.
99, a swing and a miss.
Last night was probably the loudest this crowd's ever been. Watching it at home, understanding the moment and their comeback. Today, although no sold out, they understand. All of them coming here knowing they've been waiting for this for a while.
2 outs. Cal Franco, the last hurdle. 1 out away from a division title.
Players in dugout playing it cool right now, but you'll watch how quickly they jump over the railing and don't play it cool if they get this last out.
Strike 1. Vizcaino's not messing around. 99 again.
Freddie has gotten a taste of it early in his career, and then he's gone through a bit of a void. Would like to taste that one more time.
Out to left. Fittingly, Acuna. Ball game. The Braves are back. National League East champions in 2018. What an improbable season for the Atlanta Braves, who have punched their ticket into October.
Been a long time coming. This fan base has been patient, spoiled early on for all those years of this becoming a commonplace, but you see the first title since 13, but more importantly, a young team that has the feeling it can stick around for a while and be good.
No, there's no doubt about that. Acuna, possibly the National League Rookie of the Year. Ozzie Albies, not much older at all. Foltynewicz was brilliant today, a no-hitter into the 7th. He was a beast. Brian Snitker, very possibly the National League Manager of the Year. The division title has returned to Atlanta. And Inciarte has just been on fire since the All-Star break. Three consecutive 90-loss seasons for the Atlanta Braves. And now, champions of the East.
Well, again, going back to spring training, everyone talked about the expectations, young players coming. What's it going to take? The Nationals were the cream of the crop, and rightfully so, based on their roster. But everyone will be talking about the Braves this year, winning the division.
It was Suzuki with the 8th inning RBI to give a little bit of a cushion in the 9th.
And I'm telling you, watch out for the NL East next year. There's a lot of teams that are going to be very competitive, and it could be the best division in the National League based on the Phillies' emergence. Of course, what the Mets have, and now what the Braves have built.
What a scene here in Atlanta. The Braves win it. They have won 3 in a row against the Phillies. And Freddie Freeman is going back to the playoffs. We have more post-game coverage coming up in just a moment.